Now, just to share something with you, they never gave me a release. So the producer sent me a release to sign, and I said, "Look, I don't want to sign the release because I don't know what you're going to put in the movie. If you show me exactly what you're going to put in the movie, I will do it." They sent me the footage, and it had him calling me a cocksucker, and I realized that I could have that taken out, or I could keep it the way it is, and I decided to keep it in, and the way it was.
I gotta say, Katz, I don't know any manager or agent in Los Angeles, and I'm not saying this because you're my guy. I don't know a single manager that would just say, yeah, keep in the part where he calls me a cocksucker, let alone come on a podcast. And the first time you were ever on the podcast, we talked about Chappelle leaving you. We talked about Dane leaving you. We know now that Louis C.K. has long left you. No wonder you're Mr. 100%. And I don't know why. It's almost like comics. It's like what Adam Carolla said to me that time. Like, people were, this is, I guess, 5 years ago. He said, "You're really funny, but you," about me, he said, "you, more than any other comics seem begrudging to just admit that you're funny." I'll say Jay Mohr was in here and he was like really funny, and they'll go, "Yeah, I guess." And this is Carolla talking, go, "No, you don't understand, like, destroyed. Like, no one has been that funny." And they're like, "I guess." And he goes, "No, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you." And I told him, because I guess I just used to be an asshole. I was always very cocky and confident. But you were never like a cocky, confident asshole. So I don't know what it is that every guy's got like a Barry Katz roll their eyes. Not every guy. Speaking in superlatives.
I don't. I mean, he does.
Not yet. I don't. Not yet.
But I think one of the things I can point to with you and with me, we have similar things, is that for you, the reason why people felt the way they did is because you were the first comedian that I knew of at that time, and I was honored to work with you because I was also blazing the trail with you, is you were a guy who was booking significant acting jobs right away. So in other words, you're 18 years old, 19 years old, and you're booking gigs right away. Camp Wilder, you were like, 19 years old or something like that. SNL, and then you booked film role after film role, and you were doing comedy, and there was nobody in New York.
Do you think that's why people begrudged?
Absolutely.
Because I've been told by like Marin, and you'll probably enjoy hearing this just because it's interesting. It was my confidence, and it wasn't an act. I was that confident. Like, give me a mic, I'll crush it. Give me, what is it? A shul, a Jewish shul, like, I don't care. I'll crush it.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Shul?
No, it's Volks. It's a
Vazul
verklempt.
Okay.
Like,
said it right that time.
I always I was that confident, and I didn't realize until like 3 months ago when Matt Cohen, when I was back on Smodcast, we were talking about comic books and nerds, and he goes, "We prefer geeks." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was like a real thing." He goes, "Yeah." He said, "You're a jock. You wouldn't understand." I go, "I'm not a jock." He goes, "Trust me, you're a jock." I'm like, "Why?" Because I played baseball and wrestled in high school. And he goes, "Yeah, that's kind of the definition of what a jock is." So I think the combination of confidence and actually having, like, going and hitting baseballs at the batting cages with Frosty and then going to the Comedy Cellar, I don't know, it like freaked. And obviously I tore people down and I was an asshole.
But also, I want to say this, and
Uncle Dan, why don't you take a break this portion of the show?
Shut up.
You're like Fez Watley over there.
I think
locking up.
I think also one of the reasons why people took you down, and if you don't mind me saying this, is that, and again, I always go at you in a way that's honest and whatever. Your material will never be confused with
Stephen
Wright or Chris Rock or
Dane Cook and Louis C.K. GS material.
George Carlin or somebody of that nature.
Oh, you made your point. Keep going.
Okay.
You don't name every comic in the world.
I'm not.
Or,
And I'm just saying this. And this is
Shecky Green.
Everybody, the rest of the podcast was just name after name after name.
Jan Murray.
So you have like this way where you're killing. You're not killing. You're not killing with hacky material. You're not killing with material that's weird. but you're killing with material that's a kind of material that could be argued sometimes is a running theme of a lesser common denominator of comedy. Like, for instance,
I said it to Mark
So, in
Maron.
other words, you'll do 20 minutes on, let's say, a real-life experience of yours, having a baby, the diapers, the poop, the mustard, the changing, the this and that, and it's this 20-minute
Don't get
bit
them confused either.
on changing a baby and all the excrement and all the stuff,
Yeah.
and he's hung like a 2-year-old and all this stuff, and it's like
Good bit.
It's a
Did you know that really happened, Andrew?
So
when I got the baby circumcised, it's the only time this has ever been a compliment. It was an actual Moyle, too, from UCLA. He said, he's got the penis of a 2-year-old. But he said it like so excited, like, wow.
He was talking about, not you. He was talking
But I
about
said,
the
so
baby.
do I.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
the guy. That's the bit he's talking about. I go, so do I. Why do you think it took me 8 years between babies? I'm not exactly putting the stamp on the envelope.
Yeah, so you got
But the guy actually, like, that's the only time it's ever been a compliment.
So you got this incredible, let's just take that bit. It's like a 20-minute piece that's real life. It happened to you. You're not like fabricating it. This is what it is. But the fact is, comics look at it and they say, it's like,
Yeah, I understand
he's
that.
doing 20 minutes on,
Diapers.
baby shit and diapers.
Yeah.
Why isn't he doing 20 minutes on, something that's like so obscure and unique and whatever?
Brian Regan does 20 minutes about saying you too.
Yeah. And the reason why Brian Regan gets
I'm not comparing me
No, I know.
to him.
I
Brian
know you're
Regan
not.
is in another dimension of comedy that I am.
And most every comic would say
Yeah.
that. And so, again, he's doing a bit on YouTube. It's like, and you never hear anybody do it. I saw a comic in New York. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I think, and I promise I'm not trying to override you here. A young comic, I went to New York, and I saw this guy.
Uncle Dan gets paid by the word like Melville.
Yeah.
You're
And
cutting into his check.
his name was Joe Mackey, young comic, probably never made any money. And
When was this?
This was
I
about
totally
6
spaced
months
out the
ago
first
in New
part you were
York.
talking. I
Okay,
didn't
I
know
went to
you-
Caroline's just to see some young comics, and I want to say this for all the young comics listening.
I think you mean Gotham Comedy Club.
I think you mean Gotham. I went to Caroline's. I love Gotham.
I don't know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Okay, so
Katz, I can't give him a guarantee.
So I-
Broadway. Who comes to Broadway?
So this guy goes on, and he's doing sort of like a character, but then he says, "This is him. This is how
Lou
he
Mackey?
talks." Joe Mackey.
Joe Mackey.
So he does this
Joe
bit,
Mackey.
and I'm watching him. And the premise of his bit, first, the bit that I thought to myself, and I remembered hearing, was the premise was, I'm tired of black people being able to say the N-word, but white people can't say the N-word. Now, for all comics listening,
Is he white or black? This
he's
kid?
white.
Oh, I like the bit already.
So for that, for those white and black comics and all ethnicity listening, you've heard the premise more than once.
Right.
If you're a comic, not like a lot.
Right.
But you've heard it, so it's a premise.
I will say this. Do you know any other white comic that uses the N-word without incident more than me on stage?
No.
It is bizarre, right?
It's huggable and lovable, baby.
I didn't understand. Now he's Don King.
Yeah.
It's huggable and lovable.
Only in America.
Only in
So-
America. I think it's because I'm imitating the black guys that are using the word.
No, it's because you are a lovable asshole, and that's what people love about you on stage.
You are a lovable asshole, Jay. You know that?
That's your lane. People at the club, they want to see this guy who's this lovable guy.
But
who
I
can
never
the-
say N-word about a black person, ever. I would never say
One
that.
of your favorite bits that you've ever done in your life
Def
for
Jam?
me is Def Jam. I love
Yeah.
that bit.
Black guys on Def Jam. I go, how does it go? I haven't done it in a while. I got to bring it back. Now, I just got 10 minutes of new material. Cats reminded me of the old stuff. Hold on. Had to blow the dust off of that one. Let me see. I could barely make it out. Yeah. I watched Def Jam just to see if I'm acting as retarded as I'm supposed to be according to black comics. Because according to Def Jam, I'm supposed to be talking to everybody like this. Hey, everybody, how are you? You ever see a black comic make fun of white people on Def Jam? It's always the same bit. And apparently white people, we're lucky we don't drown when it's raining. Like, hey, everybody, how are you? I'm a white guy. Get in the car, Maggie, and the niggers are coming. Look out, here they come. Here they come. Get in the car. Okay, roll up the windows. We don't want any troubles here, buddy. Roll up the windows. How are you, brother? Bro, ham. I just shit my pants. I'm afraid of the niggers. Let's go. I don't know a single white guy that talks like that. And I'll say to the audience, you know who talks like that? Tony Gwynn. Romeo Crennel. Tony Dungy. Basically any black coach. That's how Mike Singletary spoke that way when he coached the 49ers, which I don't understand because when he played, he was the blackest man alive. Oh, sideline to sideline, baby. This is my kind of party. Oh, yeah, come on. We're going to do this right here. And then all of a sudden he's coaching the Niners and he goes, Vernon Davis. He turns into fucking Thurston Howell from Gilligan's Island. He's got a cross and a stopwatch around his neck. And he's like, Vernon Davis, can't play with them, can't win with them, can't do it. Like, when did you become fucking Maya Angelou? I got you on NFL Films. You're like, come on, we're going to do this. Oh, I like this kind of party right here.
It's true.
Anywho.
Anyway, so getting back to this guy, Joe Mackey, and the kind of comedy. So that's the premise. I'm tired of black people saying the N-word. I want to say the N-word, but I can't. So I figured out a way to get around it, to get me excited about saying it. I'm paraphrasing for those of you. He says, this is what I did. I made my ATM PIN word the N-word. Now when I go to the machine, I type it in, I say it to myself sort of out loud as I'm at the machine. I'm kind of, I'm really I'm getting excited about it. Makes me feel powerful. Until last night I was in Times Square taking money out, and I felt something in my back. I turn around, there's a black guy with a gun in my back. He says, give me all your money. I said, no. He said, give me your PIN word, or I'll kill you. I said, if I give you my PIN word, you will kill me.
It's great.
Great bit. Didn't do that well that night, but I watched that bit and I said, this guy has something really special. Then he followed it up and he said, people compare Barack Obama to Hitler. They compare George Bush to Hitler. I say no. Hitler got shit done. I mean, if Hitler wanted health care, we'd have health care. And he does that, and it's like the crowd is sort of laughing, but not. But I watched it, and I'm like, then his closer was, listen.
That's what Dan said. He did have death panels.
Then he goes and he says, Hitler,
Katz just froze you
this
out.
This is an amazing guy. This is a guy who convinced his people that blonde people were the master race, and he had brown hair. And so I watched this guy. I'm like dying. I'm like laughing. I'm like, this motherfucker's up. The crowd is sort of like off. And I'm like, this guy is unbelievable. I go to meet him after. He hasn't been doing it that long.
And he just signed with George Shapiro.
I shake his hand. I said, great job. And he's talking to me like in the character that he was. Like he really was like a howdy-doody kind of character. And that's how he is in person. But anyway, to make a long story longer... But I knew he was doing the right kind of material. So I knew if that kid, even if he didn't do killed that night, I knew if 100 comics went to see him, they would say, wow, keep it up. This guy's doing something special.
He's singular.
But if somebody were seeing a young comic going on, let's say, doing the rapping cow and killing, they tend not to be as supportive of that person as they are of that person. And I thought to myself,
bit I used to close with Uncle Dan.
And
the rapping cow.
And sometimes I wonder to myself, like, if I still have...
I don't want to spoil it and let you know what it's about.
So sometimes I wonder to myself, just like everybody does, do you still have it? Do you have whatever? And I thought, God, I know this guy has something special, but he didn't really do that well. And so I thought, do I still have an eye for what this is? And then... a month ago, I'm watching Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon brings out Joe Mackey to do his first national television set, and he fucking killed. This guy probably made $50 in his lifetime in comedy, got the shot, and he got the shot on Jimmy Fallon, not because he did the greatest set in the world in the clubs, but because his material was undeniable.
It's a part of the story Katz is leaving out, is that he's got pipes in his TV room, and he's got his belt around his neck watching this kid's first applause break. Yeah. Again, I'll be up in a minute, honey. Could you do me a favor, put the kids to bed? I'm just going to watch Jimmy Fallon. And he had black hair. Oh, God, this is the big one. And the pipe snaps, saving his life. And his wife comes in and goes, why is there water all over the floor?
Call the plumber.
But the point being is that the reason why
I don't know
Joe...
why I made your wife a Bond villain.
That's okay.
Why is there water all over the floor, Mr. Bond?
But the reason why Joe Mackey got his first set on television is
Who
because...
manages him now?
the material. He doesn't have a manager.
Get in there, Katz.
All right, whatever. I'm just trying to
Uncle
make
Dan,
a
you want
point
him
here.
to
Go over there right
So
now.
the point,
Knock on
the
his
reason
door.
why comics were always resentful of you is you were killing.
Well,
with,
I never said resentful, but sure.
You were killing with material that wasn't necessarily like that, and to top it all off, you were